This I find absolutely fascinating. You're going to see a disinformation happening in real time, right? This freaking incredible. So the Trumpster said this recently, I think yesterday.
Mexico has taken, over a period of 30 years, 34% of the automobile manufacturing business in our country. Think of it, went to Mexico. China now is building a couple of massive plants where they're going to build the cars in Mexico and they think that they're going to sell those cars into the United States.
I remember 2016 in the campaign, and he really delivered on this stuff. Again, if you don't like Trump, that's fine, but did you like world peace and money? Because we have both of those things.
United States with no tax at the border. Let me tell you something to China. If you're listening, President Xi, and you and I are friends, but he understands the way I deal, those big monster car manufacturing plants that you're building in Mexico right now, and you think you're going to get that, you're going to not hire Americans, and you're going to sell the cars to us. Now, we're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line. And
honestly, there is no policy I heard. I know Trump embarrassed me a lot, right? It was like, oh God, why did he say that? Oh no. Did you say braggadocious? That was a Trump thing, was it? Yeah, there's a lot of things Trump did that was really embarrassing, especially as a Trump supporter. I make no bones about that whatsoever. But still, like, what I agreed with all the funny. Like, why aren't the European countries paying their, the 2% GDP into NATO? Like, why is that okay? I don't understand.
You're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole. That's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it. But they're not going to sell those cars. They're building massive factories. A friend of mine, all he does is build car manufacturing plants. He's the biggest in the world.
All right, fine. So that seems like a reasonably innocuous campaign thing to say. But here, look at the bullshittery, right? NBC, it's not NBC News. This is not like a small news outlet. Former President Donald Trump vowed at a rally there will be a bloodbath if he's not re-elected in November. If that's not enough reason to lock it, is that not reason enough to lock him up now? Well, Stephen Dancer, okay, here's the thing. People who support Biden, who hate Trump, they are low information voters. They are just, they're dumb, right? Tim Pool was posting, is the culture war a schism of intelligence? And it could be, right? There's a really fascinating thing. If you ask somebody, if you didn't have breakfast yesterday, how would you feel? And they can't answer you. They go, but I had breakfast yesterday. Or, but that means they're a dummy, right? And there's apparently, 50% of the world who doesn't have an internal monologue going on in their heads. And that's just insane to me, right? Now, but Stephen Gallagher, certainly, Stephen Danzer, who I know is Stephen Gallagher. Oh, no, certainly not Stephen Gallagher. Stephen Danzer seems to be one of those people. And look, this thing is flying around. New York Times. Trump says some migrants are not people and predicts a bloodbath if he loses. I mean, that's even worse, isn't it? CNBC, Trump says there will be a bloodbath if he doesn't get elected in November as he campaigns for the GOP's Bernie, whatever. Weirdly enough, CNN actually gets it closest. Trump warns of bloodbath for auto industry and country if he loses election. I'm amazed, right? NDTV, Donald Trump warns of bloodbath. Yeah. The intimation is that he's going to start a revolution on the right. Because, again, I think, people who hated Trump, they still believe that the Russians the Russians' interference had him win the election, right, in 2016. I think they still, even though they know it's not true, which is really bizarre, right? It's really totally bizarre. My name's Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.